All right. So speaking of Boston, they got a lot on their hands this offseason with figuring out paying Jalen Brown. Do they want to fire Joe Mazzulla? Maneuvering the pieces in general to make the team better. Uh, Trying to figure out like how can Boston improve itself, going into the 23-24 season. So I'm gonna ask y'all, do y'all think they should get rid of Jalen Brown? Should they run it back? I've seen both arguments all day on Twitter today, but what do y'all think?
I think that they would be making a big mistake if they were to let Jalen Brown go. And what I mean by that is they're one of the younger cores with him and Tatum,
Mhm.
but they've been to an NBA Finals already. They've been to a conference finals, one game away this year to go to another NBA Finals with a new head coach. Build around them. People been trying to break them up for the longest. It since damn near ever since Jalen Brown got there. What it feel like,
Mhm.
but whatever's there is working, especially defensively. Did they let go of the ball yesterday? Yeah. Did Jason Tatum injury may not played a part in them losing? But with these two, that's a lot of money. But at the same time, if you're able to get to where you are with old ass elite shooting as Al Horford starting, you'll be fine. If you're able to get there without a legit point guard, you'll be fine. Marcus Smart, defensive player of the year, as he should have been, but I don't think he can continue to be the starting point guard of this team. The starting point guard is Malcolm Brogdon, and he coming off the bench winning 6 man of the years. So I think you need to figure out what you're gonna do with them two. You need to go let go of Horford, and you need to sign. You need to figure out what you're gonna do with Grant Williams and Robert Williams. I think Robert Williams can continue to be at least a starting power forward on this team. But you got to get rid of Al Horford. He's old. He's not able to do what he's supposed to do in the post. He called himself an elite shooter, and 2 games out of the 7 that we just witnessed, he went 3 pointless. Like he didn't score a 3 point shot at all. You got to figure out, and you got to figure out, are you going to keep Mazzulla? I think they should keep Mazzulla. Regardless of what happened, you still was a game away from the NBA Finals. And I think this is the main point that people keep on missing out on, Savage. Like you're a game away from another, let me repeat, another NBA Finals. You could have won last year, but last year you would just went against the Golden State Warriors. Simple as that. You know how to beat this the Bucks. Damn near everybody know how to beat the Bucks at this point. So if you keep going, you're gonna continue to be a top 2 Eastern Conference team. Why break that up unless you can bring somebody better in? That again, if you are to trade Jalen Brown, you don't want to pay them to 600 300 million, 600 million, however much it is. Whoever you would bring in, you're gonna be paying $300 million for him. So why not stick to what's working? I think, like I said, I think Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown continue to stay on the team. And you just got to build around them, get these old heads out, bring some new energy in, and bring in a legit point guard. You got to start there.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the salary that they have. And let's make sure that we're clear. And I know we're clear on this show, but I want to make sure everyone else is clear. It's not that Brown is gone this season. He's still under contract this upcoming season. But after this upcoming season, not they're already in Cancun now, or they should be already. But once he gets back from Cancun, they're gonna run this season back. He's still under contract this season. I think the question actually becomes: do you trade him, right, or do you sign him to this max extension and then trade? Like that's the question, realistically on the board. And I hear you. I also think that Malcolm Brogdon, who's collecting 22 million of them things to come off the bench, is your starting point guard. You need to work around. Maybe there's Marcus Smart is coming off the bench. Maybe that's where his role needs to be. Or if you're keeping Brown, that means Brown, Tatum starters. Al Horford is going to be a starter. Malcolm Brogdon should be a starter, and then you can, if it's Marcus Smart or Robert Williams, whoever you want to be there. I don't believe there's Grant Williams is there in the soccer room moving forward. But honestly, their team is coming back realistically. And so do you trade Brown to the Trailblazers, get that third pick and Anthony Simons, and start with that? If you're trading Brown, you need to be trading him, 1, out of the East to somewhere else, and 2, to somewhere where you can get value, to Tuke's point, of $300 million type of value for him. Now, what is on the side of the Celtics, and we're going to be honest here, I'm going to be honest here, is going to next year, until some trades happen, East is still the East. Ain't no Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving looming around.
Like it's an 8 seed in the finals right now. Anybody can make.
Yeah. And I mean, y'all dusted the
bingo.
Y'all could have dusted them without Brown. So it's like, it's actually the 76ers will be a different type of team next season. Like, there's a lot of unknowns. So this could be the time to keep them. But if it does, and I would sign him to a premium deal. If I'm the Celtics, I sign him for the max that I can. Why? Because if it does not work and I have to get to a trade deadline and make changes, then I want the most that I can get for him. Period. I think they are going to run it back, but I don't know if Brown stays the entire season. Because if he doesn't, and they sign him to this deal, then they are literally going to be stuck with him and Tatum probably for the tenure of their basketball careers until each of them get to like 34, 35. But the next one up will be Tatum. So it's like you pay one, pay the other, pay one, pay the other. But Malcolm Brogdon can't be making $22 million coming off the bench as a point guard. He can't. The Marcus Smart thing was a trial and error, and it's not working. Marcus Smart cannot be your point guard. Jason Tatum is not built to be a point forward right now. He's better off the ball first. You need someone else to bring up the ball. We all know Jaylen Brown can't bring up the ball with his left hand, so you need somebody to do it. So Malcolm Brogdon, you traded for Malcolm Brogdon to come here. Give Malcolm Brogdon the keys to start this thing. And again, that comes down to Marcus Smart, Robert Williams. Which one is not going to start? Because you're going to start Al Horford until he retires from y'all for some reason. And then you move on. But you have to be comfortable making those decisions. Joe Mazzulla, again, to the credit that we said. Now, if he would have got swept, maybe I could have seen some conversations. But again, this team was only one game away from getting the finals. But I mean, you see why they brought it up though, because I mean, the Hawks, like y'all let the Hawks beat y'all at TD Game 5 without DeJounte Murray. Y'all let the 76ers come in and beat y'all without Joel Embiid. So I mean, there were some question marks. We're not gonna act like there was no question marks. However, I think Joe Mazzulla has earned enough to get at least, to me, 2 years. Because I don't think the roster is set up the way that whatever he wants. If he's saving timeouts for Cancun, I don't know. I praise my Lord on Sunday and every other day from there. So I don't know what's going to happen. But in all actuality, keep him. If it doesn't work, then try to trade. But from that point on, the East is still open. You got a chance.
My gut is telling me they're gonna pay him because, like I said, Jaylen Brown got to make his money. Like it's $300 million. I'm not missing out on that just because I want to go somewhere else. That's number one. I do think because you mentioned that he could be traded by the trade deadline. I think if that is what is projected to happen, I think they would fire Mazzulla before they trade Jaylen Brown because, like, if you're talking about trading Jaylen Brown, that means that the season was a failure. At that point in the season at the trade deadline. And I think they probably would still keep Jaylen Brown beyond that trade deadline. And I don't know who will be brought up as a coach. I don't know if it'll be somebody else, on the staff or if it's like a Quinn Snyder or somebody comes in from the outside. I'm not sure. But I just, they're going to stick with it, but I don't know how they're going to effectively change the roster in a way that's different from what they had this year. If you run it back with Marcus Smart and Brogdon, it's going to be a struggle. Al Horford is beyond his years, man. Like, it's time to let it go. Robert Williams is okay, but I know he was sick in Game 7, if I remember correctly. He got sick.
Oh, please. all I hear is excuse, not from you.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, but Robert Williams had
throwing up on the sideline.
I don't care what he had. Was he on the court? Did he play?
That's how I feel. Like, you on the court, man. If you're on the court, you playing. Like,
yes.
if the ball hits your hands, you got to catch it, dog. Like, all these excuses, man. Like, nah. But yeah, they said he was sick and all type of stuff. So you, in theory, would come back next year. But what I feel like they need a point guard that can run the show, a la Devin Booker before CP3 got this. Devin Booker was your scorer. He was your playmaker. He was your defender. We saw how he had to literally carry the Suns in the bubble to a 10-game win streak and they still make the playoffs. Jason Tatum is the exact same way. He can score, he can play make. He's actually developed as a defender as well this year. But you cannot have him exhausting himself to the point where he ends up getting hurt, and then now everything is to shit now. You know what I'm saying? They at some point they needed somebody that can say, okay, we just got scored on. It's a 5-0 run, 7-0 run, 9-0 run. Somebody slow the game down. Let's run our offense. Let's find an easy bucket, and let's chip away at the lead. Instead, Boston, they continuously come down the court. They hit a three, try to come on the other side of the court, and try to match it on the other end, brick. You know what I'm saying? Or conversely, Miami misses a shot. They come down the court. We got to get a three, brick. Every single time. I'm like, y'all, just slow the game down, run your offense, get the best shot. That's why Golden State thrives so much, because if they weren't getting threes, they're getting easy backdoor cuts. I can't tell y'all how many times I saw Sean Livingston wide open under the goal, reverse layup every time because they move the ball around the perimeter and into the paint. So Boston, I think, needs a point guard, like a true point guard. They have one in Brogdon that can do it, but for some reason he's on the bench. I don't understand that. You sign to that month to be on the bench. Like, once you get into the postseason, your best players are going to play. We see that with Denver. Denver plays 7 players, and that's it. They don't play nobody else. They play 7 players, and that's all they play. So Boston, I think they need a point guard for 1. And they need some size down low for 2. Al Horford, it's time to let it go. Robert Williams is okay, but I don't think he's worth an additional contract beyond what they would pay for him anyway. So they'll keep Boston. Not Boston. They'll keep Jaylen Brown. They'll keep Jason Tatum. But you have to configure what's around them. That stuff matters. We see it with Miami. You got Jimmy, you got Bam, then you got those around them that can help accelerate going to the finals.